Hey everyone, it's Mike with It's Pittsfield Tonight. I'm going to jump right into it. And this video is going to be about two topics. One, safe injection sites. And many of you might have seen in our local newspaper, this is something that our Berkshire County District Attorney, Andrea Harrington, she is one of the elected officials in the state that is really pushing for these safe injection sites. And the second topic is violence in our public schools. The amount of students choicing out and the amount of teachers leaving. So first, the safe injection sites. This is a tricky one because I do know that there are medical professionals that say that this is the right step. And then there's a lot of medical professionals that are saying, no way, this is going to make things worse. So it's a big topic with not a lot of definitive answers and not a lot of data yet on this. But one thing we do know is what the opioid crisis is doing to our country. And since fentanyl has been part of the equation, the amount of overdose deaths has escalated unbelievably. And I get really, really upset, though, when I hear people say things like, oh, good, just let them die. And I mean, I hear things like that, and it turns my stomach that people think that way. I don't understand that mentality because this is a crisis, and it's not the first time it's happened in the United States, but it is the worst. In the early 1900s, the opioid crisis was out of control. It even put a ban on the country the year the Statue of Liberty went up. There was a ban put on anybody coming over from China, because that's where all of it was coming from at that time. And it was a massive problem. Opium dens were everywhere at that time, and they were killing people in unbelievably numbers and doing a lot of other damage to society. But here's the problem I have with these safe injection sites, because the problem with opioid addiction is not just the fact that people, every time that they use, they're risking losing their life. And the crisis is not just people dying of an overdose. There's a whole other subset of problems attached to that. Because when you're on drugs, you're not you anymore. And believe me, I've seen personally, unfortunately, friends that I've lost. And I'll give you a specific example. One of my friends, great guy, married, he had 3 kids, good job, great guy. He was in a horrible car accident, which really messed up his back. And when I say messed up his back, he had to have like 3 or 4 vertebrae infused. He went through multiple surgeries. It ruined his life. It put him on disability forever. I mean, he could barely walk, and he was prescribed, after those surgeries, they had him on OxyContins, and within less than a year, he was a full-blown heroin addict. And it was so hard to watch that, and unbelievable to watch that. And in no time, that person that I knew my whole life was no longer there. And ultimately, he lost his wife, he lost his kids, he lost his home, and sadly, he lost his life. And it was so sad because I don't like going to services, and I rarely do. I like spending time with people when they're around. But some of the people at that, when I heard them say, well, he's better off, he's at peace now, and it's like, oh, it was so hard to hear that. And I get that some people can't be saved, and that's the saddest part of it. But this crisis has escalated to a point where there's almost nobody who isn't attached or knows somebody that has suffered from this. But a safe injection site, this is the problem I have, because I'm assuming you bring your own drugs there, and in the event of an overdose, there's medical staff there to revive you, and there's counselors on hand that the idea is to try to guide and direct them into treatment. And that's a way to get them to come in and be able to identify the problem and start dealing with it that way. So I do get that side of it. But the other side of it is the damage to the community, as far as once a person is using and on drugs, they have to find a way to fund that habit. And when you get so screwed up, usually work and things like that are completely out of the equation. So you'll see an increase in robberies, you see an increase in sexual assaults, you see all these horrible things that starts to affect everyone. Home invasions, home break-ins, car break-ins, and it becomes that detrimental. So if a safe injection site, could that potentially escalate those other problems in the community and cause more damage? So I'm torn on this one completely, because it is so sad seeing so many people die of this. And if you've ever known somebody, like I've known multiple people, but my friend specifically was a lifelong friend, and I watched how that took him away. He was not there anymore. He was gone, and he was such a great person. And that's how powerful that drug is. And to the people that don't have those addictive issues, God bless you that you don't have to suffer from that hell. Because I'd be willing to bet 99.9% of the people addicted to opioids don't want to be. They're living in a personal hell. So it's a huge problem that does have to be addressed, because the bottom line is whatever we're doing now, it's not working at all. Everyone is suffering. Everyone. And it's ripping our communities apart. So I'm going to reach out to our Berkshire County District Attorney Andrea Harrington, and see if I can get an interview with her. I really do want to discuss this in depth, because at least the conversation has started. Where I stand right now on the safe injection sites, I'm 99% against it. I just don't see that as a solution. But there's that part of me that thinks, could that have saved my friend's life? Could that have gotten him into treatment and got his life back? So there's that part of me, and I need more answers. I want to hear more data, research. I don't know enough on it. So I am going to reach out to the district attorney and see if I can get an interview and discuss this. The second thing, violence in the schools. Violence in our public schools has gotten to a horrible level. And I saw a post on Facebook yesterday. Many of you will know what I'm referencing, because I saw quite a few people that I know from this page comment on that page, on this person's post. And it's a serious issue, and I think the simple start to fixing that is school resource officers and counselors in the school. School resource officers to intervene and de-escalate the situation immediately, and counselors to get to the bottom of this and find out what's going on. Because public schools are funded by all taxpayers, and every single parent has a right, and every single child there has the right to an education in a safe environment. And that's not happening. And that is unacceptable. Completely unacceptable. So school resource officers, to me, are the first step right now. And for some reason, some of our city councilors have been against that. They believe that school resource officers cause problems. I find that, I don't get that. I don't get that at all. Because the problems of the violence in the school is there. That is the problem. It's a public facility. So law enforcement having some kind of presence there is not shouldn't be making anybody uncomfortable, unless those individuals are up to criminal activity or bullying or whatever the situation is in school. That is unacceptable. It is unacceptable. Based off that post, I started thinking, well, the first step to this, it's an election year. There should be a community rally. And I went through this with some people before, saying, what good is it to gather and hold signs? It's a ton of good. Ask the cafeteria workers that held a rally on Park Square, and we all marched to the City Hall steps. And guess what? There was resolution to that. And why was there? Well, the city saw how many people turned out for that. If you make a presence and you let it be known and you want to be heard, and if we did a rally and marched to City Hall and there's enough of us, if hundreds and hundreds of people, if not more, show up and the community is saying, we're over this. We want resource officers in our schools immediately. Then you can start to get to the bottom of this. If you do a rally and 10, 20, 30 people show up, don't think the politicians don't see that. And to them, they look at that, there's the numbers. That's what these standouts, and they show, for one, we're fed up. It's a public display. We want answers. I would love to participate in something like that. I saw the amount of comments and people involved in that post. Why don't we do another gathering? It's time for that. And start at Park Square and march to City Hall. I mean, this is a serious, serious issue. And I get that everyone's on edge. This past year, year and a half has changed everyone. And there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of all that going on. And it's understandable. Everyone's on edge. I've caught myself a few times just, I get that. But the first step is to gather as a community and make it known. And like I said, at these little, when you do these standouts and everyone doesn't participate, I got upset at the last one I did, and I get it was in the middle of summer, and we had about 30, 40 people show up, and I was disappointed because that was all the violence going on. And I'm thinking, wow, thousands of people comment on Facebook, but you can't take 15 minutes to show up at Park Square and then march over to City Hall. Showing that, it shows the politicians we are engaged and we want change. And this is the right time to do it. This is an election year. I want to do that. I want to organize another standout. And if it be march in front of this particular incident that this post was about, was at Taconic High School, march right down the sidewalk in front of Taconic High School if we have to. But I would say Park Square to City Hall. That's the first step in a gathering. And then maybe start signing a petition at that gathering. We put a petition around and start getting signatures. It is the best way to take that first step to start addressing this. So I do want to organize that, and anybody who follows this page on here and would be willing to participate in that, let's do it. I will organize that immediately. I'll use this platform to promote it, and let's do that. So that's it for now. I want to make this a short one because the shorter they are, the more time people have to watch these. So again, I am going to reach out to our Berkshire County District Attorney, Andrea Harrington, and I want to have a discussion about the safe injection sites, and I hope I can get an interview with her. And I want to hear more data on that, and I want to hear where she's coming from on that. And I think that's a very important discussion to start. And two, violence in our schools. That has to be addressed immediately. Immediately. I want to organize this gathering. Let's put together a standout and let's show up at Park Square, get a petition going around, and let's march over to City Hall. And those are the first steps. Because blaming everybody, I saw somebody blaming teachers, and that really upset me. That really, really upset me, because to put any of the teachers at fault for this, we're losing teachers. They can't take it anymore. We have to start supporting our educators better. I mean, everyone just worries about the administrative positions and everything. What about the teachers that are underpaid, that use their own money to do all these things for the kids, and they try so hard, and they're underpaid, underappreciated, and look at the work environment they're in, and what are they trying to do? These are people that care. They're there to educate our future. So that's where our attention needs to be. And yes, resource officers in the school and a better and bigger counseling staff to get a hold of these problems now before they escalate any further. Period. So again, that's it for now. Please comment or send me a message if you're willing to participate, and I will organize something immediately, and we'll take it from there. So everyone have a great day. It is really chilly outside, but I think we're going to have an early winter, and it's going to, before you know it, we're going to get your shovels and your jackets out. I think it's coming early this year. But that's it for now, and I will catch y'all either tomorrow or the day after.